Right, I'm now going to hand over to Dr. Jen Clayton-Brown, and I'd like you all to give a big hand to Jen because she's just been awarded her PhD.
Can I take this away from you now? I'll get it for you, lovely. There we go. Oh, I've got to get it up myself. Oh, there we go. Can we all hear me okay? Yes, excellent. Fabulous. Well, welcome very much to Edge Hill University. On behalf of the university, it's amazing to have you all here. We've got lots of students here as well. There's quite a lot of them in the audience. So we do encourage any questions about any of the fantastic research that we do in the biology department. Feel free to come to any of us. I'm happy to give my email out as well if anyone wants any more information after this conference is finished. So thank you very much to the lovely Mary for my introduction. So she says I am a Doctor of Ecological Genetics here at the department, and I'm also a member of the technician team. But enough about me, because today, for this first session, we're here to talk about supporting everyone keen to learn more about our wild plants. And in fact, your first speaker today is very, very fitting. So this gentleman, he started with the BSBI in 1987. He served on the trainee committee, the publications committee and the council. He's an editor of the BSBI Grasses Handbook and has had a big role in the BSBI for many, many years. Here at Edge Hill University, this gentleman helped raise the biology department. It's one of the most successful departments in the university today. He's helped contribute to the fields of ecology, botany, ecological genetics, not through just his own research in Carex taxonomy, meadow restoration and landscape genetics, but also through the inspiration of his students that have come through our doors. He's also been a wealth of support and guidance for many of us here, students, friends and colleagues alike at Edge Hill University. He is our beloved Professor of Botany, and more importantly, he is your BSBI President. It is Paul Ashton with his talk on... Paul's talk is on resistance is futile, a role for botany in the 21st century university. Over to you, Paul. Do you want this?
Yeah, go on.
I'll just give you this one. Oh, I don't know, grab that one. Come to me.
Is the clicker working?
The clicker isn't working.
It's not working.
The laser is.
Okay. That has to be the most embarrassing introduction I've ever had in my life. And I'll be having a word with you later when I do. Okay. I'm going to start off with an obituary notice from the Times. It came out in 1985, just as I'd finished my degree and my PGCE. I'll let you read it. And there's an addendum to that lower down with a comment. So for someone who just finished his degree, did botany at university because he had to as a first year and second year student, thank you to the Scottish education system, full of fire and enthusiasm for converting everyone ever since, that came a bit of a shock, really. So when you get into the university system then, how are you going to teach this thing that you love, and how are you going to teach enthuse the next generation? So that was the challenge in that kind of political background. And what I thought we have then is some guerrilla botany. And you'll all have heard of guerrilla gardening. It's that kind of thing, where people go out and improve the urban landscape. And some of you may have come across guerrilla botany, but it's neither of those, actually. It's really about taking botanical modules and putting them into a mainstream curriculum. So kind of, I'm not going to go into kind of full history of that, but one of the first things that I brought in was a module that I wittily called Vegetation Ecology. And we did some things, we did lots of ID, we got a group there doing an MVC survey on limestone grassland at Jack Scout. We had an assessment that's a herbarium collection that's still going. And then a few years on, I wittily changed the title to Field Botany, so we got some botany in the curriculum. So that was one example of doing it. Another example was at field trip. Was lucky enough to work at an institution that had a great commitment to diversity, so that the course was available to everyone. And basically, anyone that's run field courses, you know it's easy. You take them somewhere nice, picture on the left, and you then give them somewhere to have a picnic, picture on the right. And it's an easy equation, so I highly recommend it. And the third thing I did when I became head of department in 2012, 2013, was to introduce an overseas field trip for the first year. It's kind of 7-8 weeks into the course. And as my manager at the time said, "Are you mad?" But no, I wasn't mad. I made sure that anyone who did that course, and there's a few in this room today who did that course, that basically you didn't have time for many of the standard undergraduate hijinks because I worked you too hard to do it. Well, much of that. And basically, if you're not inspired by plants in that kind of landscape in warm weather, then you've had a soul bypass operation. And we don't want you on a botany course anyway. Well, that's really important. I'll mention this later on, but one of the issues of plants at university is that the experience that students have in school is a miserable one. They've counted daisies on the sports field in the rain. Well, that's enough to turn anyone off. So this is the other side of it. It could be brilliant, and it is, and it was. So what that meant was we had a BSc in biology from 2006 onwards. We had a BSc in ecology and conservation from 2012 onwards. And we were lucky enough to produce a plant science degree in 2018 onwards. And to kind of give you a flavour of how easy it had been with that sort of guerrilla approach, is this is a second year plant science course. And there's only 2 new modules on there. So it wasn't a difficult, all the other modules were already running elsewhere. My colleague who does a fantastic job in the plant form and phys module is talking about something later on this morning. So it'd be better talk than this one. Third year one, similar. There was only 1 new module on there. So it was not a difficult thing to put in. And given I was head of department at the time, it was easy as well. We also had and we still do have a MSc in conservation management. You've got a group here on a field trip. I think it's a Worcestershire Wildlife Trust staff showing them how to dig a shallow grave to put all the government's environmental policies in. That's a fantastic course that I'm incredibly proud of. Don't need to run through all the modules there, but the key thing is that there are 2, there's plants throughout that course, but there's 2 that are almost entirely field plants which are in there. And again, there's several people in the audience that's a product of that course. It's a very successful in terms of students going on to get jobs afterwards. Key to that, we talked about field botany a little bit. The Worcestershire trip, which is a management and practice trip, we basically say this is the land you could own if you're into banking. It's a view from Breeden Hill, anyone that knows it. And we also do a bit of meadow worship. So again, it's one of those soul-enriching places that makes it feel good. This never appeared in the Times. Mark Twain's famous line. But it did appear, this kind of renaissance, this plant science, this conservation management, did appear in the Independent. That was their headline. The Daily Mail covered it, of course. I did a joke similar to that to a sixth form group in Bolton a couple of years ago. Got nowhere, absolute dead, which in some ways heartened me actually. The Daily Mail exposed it, and they did another story that day, so no change there. And the Sun take on it was, of course, something like that. And the Sun, of course, illustrated it with something like that. The young people in there, I want you to take note of that because it's a kind of historical point. It's the last time in history you'll see an inappropriate image at this kind of BSBI conference. And you can tell your grandchildren, do you know, I saw one of the last bits of blatant sexism at the BSBI. Anyway, there we go. So let's take us to the current day. So that's the story of the success that we've had. University woes in the entire sector are well documented. You don't need to work very hard. From The Guardian this week, we've had 50 HE providers at risk of exiting the market. And the one that's gained perhaps the biggest profile is Nottingham University's decision to cut lots of its courses. The language is the one that's taken the higher profile, but the plant courses in there as well. That's come alongside botany woes in that the appeal of plants to the average 18-year-old, and I've been lucky enough to teach no average 18-year-olds, they've all been weird, it's great. The appeal of plants to the average 18-year-old, well, it doesn't have it. Consequently, and I think I can talk at length about that, I think that's partly an uninspiring curriculum. I think it's partly the school experience, which I talked about, counting days as in the rain. And I think it's partly that children get out less, so the kind of sensation of being outside and around plants is less. So that leaves us with kind of 60 plus applicants for plant science courses across the UK, which is a small number. So what we see now with kind of university finance issues and small number of applicants, courses get cut. I was going to call this bonfire of the botany because it's better alliteration, but it's not accurate really. As a scientist, that would be an appalling thing to do. So we've had something of a bonfire of the plant science programmes this year. The high profile one is Nottingham's, Canterbury Christchurch and Chop theirs as well. I have to add my own institution with that. I made a decision a few weeks ago that I was going to go as well. And Glasgow and Edinburgh, which still have them, but have moved them over towards a molecular session. So it's a difficult time. What do we do now? Which direction to go in? Because it isn't particularly clear. I think what we do, well, before we get on to what we might do, I'll give you a kind of a little bit. This is the good news that I promise one or two. The MSc in Conservation Management is alive and well and thriving and will continue. But we are looking at the possibility of subtitling the College in Conservation degree, that if you want to focus on plants, and botany is the word here, then we're looking at introducing that. So I think that's a fantastically exciting bit of news for you. Watch this space, really. Have we got a place for plants in university education? We have. I would, if you think about why we need to study plants, I would recommend you read the Madrid Declaration, which came out of the International Botanical Congress meeting last year. And I would also direct you to Sandy's fantastic Why Botany, Why Now talk. But as an overview, it's food security, it's climate change, it's biotechnology, it's agriculture, conservation and so on. So what that means for those of us who are moving into careers in education now is you've got to return to guerrilla botany. And if you haven't finished with the guerrilla botany jokes, there's another one. World famous guerrilla Che Guevara tending his horticulture collection. So is resistance futile? Do we try and fight the tide of fashion, of finance, of the failings of the school curriculum? Yes, we do. In fact, we have to. We do what my generation, that's myself and those that kind of came of age and went into education, came out of education in the 1980s. I'm looking at you, Jonathan, I'm looking at me, John Warren's not here, Sarah Wiles not here, but there's several in that group that have kind of carried the fight. We're passing, the light is still strong in that generation, I think, Jonathan, we're still burning brightly, but there's a passing of the torch to the next generation. It's up to you to go out and be the next proselytizers, be the next enthusiast generators, undertake the guerrilla botany so that you carry on resisting and we carry on having a role for botany in the 21st century. I'll give you a couple of tips which you can already pick up. One, if you're teaching plants, it's fairly obvious, but make it enjoyable. And it has to be very enjoyable because you've got to overcome prejudice of this is boring. The second one is make it intellectually stimulating. If you do that, it's satisfying and you think, I want to find out more about this. Do field work. It's brilliant. Go to some nice places. Go to the pub afterwards. Go to have a cup of tea and a piece of cake. All of those things that socially we like doing. And the last thing is the most difficult thing. It's to communicate widely. In our day jobs, we get wrapped up in marking, we get wrapped up in admin, we get wrapped up in other things to do. It's very difficult sometimes to talk with people outside your own institution. Very difficult sometimes to talk with people in your own institution. But communicate. The kind of thing that Jonathan set up with BUC makes universities talk to each other. Other people out there will be having the same problems with you. Communicate and share the information and the ideas that you have, because you won't be the only person that's faced with the same problem. So I challenge then, I kind of finish with a challenge really to the next generation to carry that baton, shine the light and infuse and work with the next generation to make sure that this talk becomes redundant very quickly. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, you're all tangled up. Yes, we do have time for questions. I should have kept your mic with you, shouldn't I? What have you done here, sir?
Technical difficulties. Has anyone got any questions?
Any questions?
Any questions? Oh, someone at the back.
Either that was so brilliantly comprehensive or it was so deadly dull that you can't face Linger anymore from me. I'll go with the former, but it might well be the latter.
We've been talking about botanical education at university level, but if the foundation for the troubles of that is botanical education at the school level, how should we engage with that?
That's a really good question, and it's a long answer. I think I've aspirations for the new GCSE in natural history. Seb, I think, is here, so he might have a little bit more from me. Although that is having some of the issues that we have with the biology curriculum, which is let's take it all indoors. I'm optimistic with the forest school, which some primary school children are now engaging in, takes them outside. It's basically about getting people out, I think, and growing plants. The other aspect is that children are just less familiar with the joy of growing plants. So you take a seed and you put it in your soil and you water it and this green thing emerges. That's just fantastic, isn't it? So it's kind of reminding those things. I think humans are intrinsically interested in life, in the outdoors, in plants. It kind of underpinned for generations our food, our drugs, our clothing, our construction materials. We must be hardwired to be interested in that. So the real question then is, what the hell happens to condition individuals to remove all that joy and all that interest? That's a rant, isn't it? That's not an answer to your question, really. I think lobby to change the curriculum, which is a difficult one, but I think that would help. Train primary school, in particular teachers, that plants need to be part of the curriculum. I mean, that's a curriculum issue. And also that they are comfortable to teach stuff, plant growing things. I think those would be my quick two. I can rant at length for this, but hope that helps.
Oh, no, well, sadly, it was such an amazing talk, but we're out of time.
Oh, shut up.
But no, thank you again to Paul Ashton for a fantastic talk. No, excellent. So yeah, as a previous undergraduate here, and I can attest that the field botany module is probably one of the best in the UK. So, fabulous. So we move on.